No, that is not it. I think it's best if I play another video to show you. So this is what we have been secretly working on for a long time. And you guys are the first ever to see this. So here goes. So what you saw there is Dust 514. And Dust is, like you saw, a first-person shooter that we're adding into the EVE experience. And it's developed for consoles. So this is basically our take on a console MMO. So instead of doing like EVE Online for consoles, we looked hard at what people want to do with when they're playing in their living room versus playing in their sort of PC room. And we thought of doing like a specially made experience for that platform, setting in the EVE IP, and then connecting it with EVE. And I'm going to talk a little bit about that later. But Dust itself is this awesome first-person shooter where you play a sort of gritty marine running around with your gun, buying trucks and extensions to that, fighting in a massive war taking place on the planets of EVE Online. And it's about these guys. These are a new sort of technology enhancement into the EVE IP, where people no longer have to be pod pilots to be able to be cloned. So these Dust soldiers, or the infantry, they will actually be explained in one of the novels that's coming out. So now people are able to be cloned to some extent when they are running around on the ground inside the EVE IP. And the number 514 actually relates to that a little bit, and I'm not going to give the trick away. So if somebody is exceedingly clever, he will figure out why it's Dust 514. So Dust 514 is a console game. It's a first-person shooter with a lot of strategic elements. So we can deploy various sort of permanent structures inside the battlefield when you are waiting in a battlefield session inside the Dust universe. And but it's also its own sort of massively multiplayer game. But it's also connected to EVE. And how does that work? So if you remember the sovereignty map and how that animates and evolves over time, currently that is dictated by how many player-owned structures you own in a solar system, and there is a various sort of input elements into the sovereignty control system of EVE. And Dust will become one of those inputs. So Dust Battlefield will dictate who controls a specific planet inside the EVE, the MMO. So if a player contracts a Dust mercenary team to go and conquer this district of a planet, then ultimately he will be able to control the planet and therefore the solar system and therefore the constellation and the region. So when you think about the Russians and the Scandinavians fighting in spaceships, then as things progress to conquer a territory in EVE, you will increasingly have to fight with your fleet, but you will also have to contract people that play Dust, the console MMO, which then feeds into the sovereignty control system of EVE. Then EVE feeds back into that game by funding the mercenaries, giving them goals, and etc. So it's a very interesting system, and especially when we bring these sort of two communities together, where we have the first-person shooter crowd and the PC MMO crowd, and the sort of ways in which these two communities we're hoping will melt over time. They will probably start by having specific Dust alliances, specific Dust corporations, but our hope is that alliances will start to form where we have social structures that bridge from the PC experience over to Dust, even so that you have alliances that are specifically formed to control a part of the universe by working on both agendas at the same time. So while Fleet does the flying, the infantry does the dying. It's made in our Shanghai office, and we've been secretly doing it there for almost 3 years now. So what you're seeing there is the fruit of a lot of development by a lot of people. And but we bring all of CCP into this. We use a development method called Enterprise Scrum. Here we see a release planning session in Shanghai actually. And we do these things with a combination of stickies and meteor conferencing and whatnot. It's quite, I could make a whole new different talk about that at some point. So we're leveraging all of CCP's international infrastructure into this project, made out of Shanghai, connected to EVE, Ambulation, or Incarna, Cosmos, and all of this is going to build this massive product ecosystem. And you will have to come to FanFest to get more details about that. So FanFest is an event that we hold in Iceland each year, and I am here on behalf of the Icelandic Tourist Bureau to tell you to come to Iceland. We need tourists to come during winter time, so FanFest is in October, the first week of October this year. There we will talk more about it, but I wanted to sort of just play the trailer again because it's so awesome.